2 hours of brain melting, plebeian crushing proggery, 10 to 15 minutes of prog elitism and snobbery. Watch Metalhead's brain malfunction right before your eyes. Let's go! LTE 3 is the third studio album from Liquid Tension Experiment. They explain the differences between LTE and Dream Theater. LTE, pretty much, they can just go apeshit. They can make like the Dance of Eternity for 8 songs. Dream Theater, they have to be a little bit more, like this much more radio friendly, but obviously not like bullshit radio friendly, like horseshit.
You're listening to Horseshit Radio.
It's been about, I think, 20 years that I've been listening to the first LTEs, and I'm still having a hard time absorbing them. Now I have a third one to try to fit in my skull. Quick map update. We, I think, doubled the numbers from the last one. This is round 2. Fennel locking down Africa. That is now 6 continents. I'm not holding out too much hope for Antarctica, but hey, I mean, if there's some Antarctica fans out there, let us know.
Still just waiting to get Wi-Fi.
Yeah, if they can get some Wi-Fi. Incredible to interact with a community like this once again. If you want to be on the map, let us know where you're from and how you got into Dream Theater. Without further bovine excrement, Hypersonic. From the first second, you can tell you're listening to LTE. It would take me roughly 8 years, I think, to learn the first 10 seconds of the song.
I think 8 years is a little generous.
Even through the craziness, it still has feel like Jordan's arpeggio that makes you feel like you're descending into the beginning of the album. John and Jordan are the tone gods. Both tones complement each other and morph into like one massive Power Rangers Megazord of prog.
I think Hypersonic earns its name. It really gave me Panic Attack vibes. My heart felt like it was gonna explode out of my chest.
Tony Levin brings the tone too. At 74, he's not only more than able to keep up with some of the fastest musicians ever, but he's able to cut through them as well to be nice and prominent. You ever see those like Madden and 2K YouTubers that do like the all theme teams?
Yeah.
This is like the all speed team of metal.
I really like the bass and guitar harmonization. I think it's really cool. He brought the chocolate cake back. Of course, this song features, I think, maybe 8 guitar solos.
I get a lot of scenes from memory vibes, so that kind of feel that we haven't heard really since then. Very similar to the instrumental bridges of A Fatal Tragedy and Beyond This Life. I give this one a meow out of 10.
I was gonna say, yeah. What was that?
I don't know. Portnoy doing something stupid. I have no idea.
Was it the guy from Tool and he brought his cat in?
Yeah, that could
to
be
the microphone. An 8.
You can tell they were going for a different direction on this one than past LTE psycho music. During the intro, I was waiting for Avril Lavigne to come out and start singing.
Yeah, it really had a classic rock kind of intro, which was really interesting to say.
Like you pointed out, on the last one, there were some similarities to Panic Attack. There are a lot of Dream Theater callbacks in this one. Jordan's distorted organ, very similar to Kevin Moore on Erotomania, along with Petrucci's main solo sounding similar to the Silent Man solo in that same Erotomania song. Even in the presence of enemies style section in there too.
Jordan took the lead for this one. I think his patch matched perfectly the flow and style for the song. And you could actually hear the bass pretty well in the mix, which I know sometimes it's hard in Dream Theater. Tony Levin was like, yeah, so just a little louder. John's like, as long as I could do my 15 guitar solos, you can have whatever you want.
I think these descriptions are just the testament to their songwriting ability and how well they can blend in radically different ideas and let it never sound disjointed. Not a ridiculously proggy song, but incredibly elegant and a nice showcase of songwriting ability. 7.5.
So I give it a 7.
Alright, so this song is like a musical orgy between Yes, Pat Metheny, and the Rippingtons. What a combo. Being that jazz fusion was one of my favorite genres, I was hyped to hear the direction they were going on this one. Jordan with a majestic bell patch, John doing his thing, Tony allowed to be nice and upfront given the style, and Mike displaying versatility as well as technicality.
Unique bass work by Tony Levin. I mean, that's what shows his skill. He brought his own individuality to the album, which I think mends it even better.
It's so cool to see the versatility that these guys can bring to the table. We're used to hearing just this all-out metal shit all the time, but they can really play any genre they want. Similar Dream Theater callback, very similar style to Trial of Tears, the last one, and Falling into Infinity, and one of 2 good songs on that album. More of this, please. 9.
7.5.
You ready? Holy fucking shit. Where do we even start? This song is
At
like
the beginning?
the musical equivalent of just unloading a minigun of music theory and metal on the poor fuck who put this on expecting some AC/DC Terminator 2 style. The triplet notes that they hammer you with are just just nut button. So many incredible lead sections from Jordan. When you think of a Jordan Rudess solo, sometimes you get a little bit nervous and have some PTSD flashbacks to a rite of passage. But on this one, he packs 3 or 4 of his greatest solos I've ever heard into this one song.
Excellent opening riff with a perfectly placed pause, followed by the fast-paced drums by Mike and crunchy guitar riff. Jordan had the soft piano parts, kind of like in On the Backs of Angels. John follows instantly with a guitar solo that matches the pace and the tone that Jordan did.
There are still many people who prefer Kevin Moore to him, and sometimes, a rite of passage, we kind of envision what that luscious JD800 would sound like on some of the more modern Dream Theater records. But Jordan's supersonic arpeggios are such an excellent match compositionally and stylistically to what LTE is doing. I love both Petrucci styles, but going for the more majestic ringing solo here as opposed to the crazy fast shredding is such a cool contrast and break to Jordan's arpeggios. I feel like I deserve a Berkeley degree now after listening to this song. The difficult thing about this style of review, and we do a lot of legacy reviews, is that we can look back and look at the influence that it's had on the culture and on the music itself. We don't see that right now. Since we're taking that factor out of it entirely, the sounds they were able to put together on this one, the complexity while still making it sound like one coherent piece. I think I'm going to give this one
Oh, no.
a 10.
Oh, it's been a long time since we've had a 10.
It has been a while.
I think when they were writing this song, they sat down and they thought, what can we do to just kill the listener? And that's when they came up with this song. So I give this one an 8.5. This one I'm interested to see what you think.
Tony Levin flexing the versatility. Not only can he play bass, not only can he play Chapman stick, not only can he play the upright bass, but he can play the lion and the motorcycle as well. This track is an absolute showcase, not just of the rhythm section, but the ability of these guys to create such a huge and powerful, aggressive and epic sound with just 2 instruments. The bottom style drum flange, the distorted upright electric bass. Kind of a weird comparison here, but I can hear rodeo era Travis Scott spitting over this.
Wow. It actually, yeah,
I don't
when
know,
you do
probably half
mention
the
it.
people watching this have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's a very interesting work, really awesome sounds that not a lot of people are able to put together, and I think Mike was able to add the perfect percussion mix to follow suit.
The anticipation builds from the 2-minute intro, the epic release into Portnoy molesting the drums for the duration of the track. If you read me the description of the song on a piece of paper, I wouldn't have listened to it. Thankfully, no one did that. I give it a 9.
I give this one a
I
7.5.
was definitely about to give it a 6 until I just hyped it up there. If any fellow Zoomers are watching, you know where you heard this song before the first time. Sitting on the floor of my basement at 3 years old watching Fantasia 2000, the construction worker and the ballet dancers and the construction site instantly brought back the nostalgia. This song was the dance of eternity before the dance of eternity was the dance of eternity. LTE and Gershwin is eons better of a crossover than the fucking Avengers. What was really incredible was how they were able to bring out the right feel for each section despite being a metal rendition, specifically when they brought out the Count of Tuscany vibes for the slower part. You'd think a song like this would be Jordan's song to dominate, and of course he did, but I think the biggest standout was Tony finding different ways to stand out in this monster of a piece. Portnoy occasionally has his fair share of bad ideas. Bringing this live rendition to the studio was brilliant. I give it an 8.
It's really cool to see that they pay homage to something so
Did you
unique.
just say homage?
Homo-age. The real beauty of this song is each musician really takes a turn expressing their skills in many different ways. Give this one a 7.5.
Again with the DT comparisons, very similar to parts of The Best of Time. Also, the Depression playlist continues to grow.
You should share that.
It is
someday.
public. You can go, if you have Apple Music,
Oh.
you can look up Darius King and you can see my playlist.
Jordan and John masterfully take on the feeling of hope or longing for something else. It felt like as if I was walking alone on a deserted beach at the sunset and John Petrucci's just walking behind me playing the guitar. That's what it felt like to me. Really cool that they changed the pace again. It's not just like...
Nice ballad to change the pace after the craziness of the last song. Nice transition to Key to the Imagination as well. I give it a 7.
A 7.5.
Okay. One more Dream Theater comparison. For the intro, middle of Illumination Theory. Anyone? Love the djenting. Love Jordan's patch with the djenting. Portnoy's hi-hat and cymbal work, also very detailed. Jordan brings a new level of grit, not only to the distorted organ, but the dirty bass, which immediately follows afterwards.
It kind of felt like as if it was a continuation of the previous song, and then it just erupts into Prague. This song definitely deserves multiple listens, I think.
A grand epic to close the first disc, 7.5.
They perfectly were able to sandwich a great beginning and a great end, so I give this one an 8.
No. So I'm gonna drop this little fact on everyone's ass. What disc 2 is, and I watched this in an interview with Petrucci that he did, I think yesterday or something. Disc 2 is actually the studio sessions of them putting together these ideas. Of course, they mastered them and mixed them. I'm sure they cleaned them up a little bit, but a lot of people were shitting on us on the Reddit saying that, oh, disc 2 is boring. This is just the studio sessions that they pulled ideas from to get on to the disc 1.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
This is pretty much like the freeform jazz section of the album. Petrucci, in another interview a while ago, talked about how it's actually more difficult for them to write shorter songs than longer ones, and it's very clear on here why, because of their insane writing style where they just make God music for half an hour and then they have to take sections from that.
I'm glad you cleared that up for me, because my first listen through it, I was kind of just like, all right, next. And it's cool for the fans, but I agree they probably should have maybe labeled that.
But the thing is, they're so good that it's not even apparent that it's just a jam session. Blink of an Eye is an absolute showcase of their raw chemistry. It takes me like 6 months to write a 15-second lick on guitar, and they're out here making like hour-long records that they have to cut down to just a measly 15 minutes. You can kind of tell what it is because the song is much more consistent than many of the songs on the first disc, where if you skip 30 seconds, you think that you skip to a different song. You can also tell which songs were assembled from which, like Solid Resolution Theory that has many similar themes to Liquid Evolution. Even some Toto vibes too on Your Beard Is Good. Overall, one of my most anticipated albums in a while did not let me down. They were able to offer something different, not just from Dream Theater, but even their past 2 LTE records. So many brilliant ideas on both discs. Disc 2 being Sessions just makes it that much more impressive.
Explosion of Prague. I knew going into it that I would come out a changed man. You know, great showcase of all of their skill. I enjoyed listening to it. It was definitely great. Maybe I'll go and listen to the older ones.
Genuinely the most fun I've had reviewing an album in a while. I think LTE locked up Album of the Year in April, except for maybe DT at the end of the year. 9 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10.